What can we get into today? What if we go right there to that little building and see what's inside of it? You might be wondering, why does a metal shed have an axle under it? Well, this is basically my boiler room. I heat my house with used motor oil, and inside here's the heat exchanger and all the controls to run it. And I pull it to the other side of the house, hook it up in the winter, and then springtime I unhook it and bring it right back over here to get it out of the way, because I don't want to look at this, all summer. So let's see what's inside of it. Let me introduce you to the Fiery Dragon. I built this heat exchanger 3 years ago, I believe. I built it just as a proof of concept, just to see if it worked, and it works very well. I used it for 2 winters, but last year I didn't use it because, well, you can see the roof is rusted through, and I need a new heat exchanger. And here's why. These copper tubes go all the way through. When I built it, I silver soldered the tubes to the side of the heat exchanger. Well, that side of the heat exchanger warps when it gets hot, and it's broke loose those tubes and caused several leaks. Those leaks are very aggravating to fix. I'm tired of fixing them. Second reason, it's impossible to clean. There's a burner tube here, and then it makes 3 passes before it comes out the exhaust right here. You can't hardly clean it. This thing don't smoke, but it puts out a lot of soot inside of here. So what I'm going to do is, all this copper on both sides, it's all going to be inside the heat exchanger now. This side I'm going to have hinges down here, and this is going to drop down and give me access to everything, so I can vacuum it out, blow it out, and keep it clean. Cleaner it is, the more efficient it is. The third thing I want to change is this burner tube here. I lose a lot of heat on either side of this because there's nothing down here to capture this heat. So I'm going to wrap that burner tube with copper and tie it into one or both of these circuits right here, and hopefully capture more heat, make it a little more efficient. So let's get started on building a new heat exchanger. I need a little better way to pick up metal. And I wonder why I've got a bad back. Have you ever seen a hand steadier than that? Look at that straight cut. Alright, I got all my metal cut, got the edges ground down a little bit, and now it's time to do some thinking and some math and some planning and some engineering, and then I get to start laying it out. I'm sitting here trying to get this laid out, and it can get confusing, but I wanted to show you this. U-bends, they cost, I looked them up, they cost about $6 or $7 a piece, and I need over 150 of them. So you do the math on that. So what I do instead is make my own U-bend. I cut a piece of 1 inch and put two 90s together. And there's my U-bend. I've decided to keep these headers. I just don't feel like making new ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut them off. I just wanted to show you how disgusting this thing can get, which, you know, it's been rained on for 2 years now. That's why this is so hard. But this is the soot that I'm talking about that gets built up in this thing, and you can't hardly clean it. That's why I'm changing the design on it. This stuff gets hard too after a little while if you don't clean it out. It can get pretty messy. Alright, I've changed the design a little bit. Originally I wanted all the copper to be inside of the heat exchanger. But now I'm going to put the headers on the outside like they were. And, well, let me show you. This is one circuit right here. I don't know if you can see those black marks, but there'll be a divider here, divider here, divider here. Burner will be here, burner tube. Heat will come in here, it'll turn, go this way, go this way, go this way, and then out. This will be the divider. Well, this one ain't, because it ain't long enough, but anyway, there'll be another one here in between these, and there'll be another one here. Well, the next circuit will be staggered. There'll be a tube in between each one of these. So that means this is going to be like this, but down here. So I'm going to have to notch these dividers to get this U-bend in there. But you'll understand what I'm talking about more when it's together. It'll make more sense then. Alright, here is my plans for the side piece. I'm drilling all the holes in it for the tubes to come through. So I'm going to get started on laying that out on this piece of metal right here. Alright, I got all my lines scribed. Now I need to do punch marks and then drill the holes out. I'm going to drill these holes and then hopefully we'll be ready to weld it together. Alright, here is screw up number 2 for the day. This heater has 2 circuits. The top line is the first circuit. Second line will be the second circuit, the header going in. Well, I'm supposed to skip a hole. Well, I decided to drill all of them all the way across. So, yeah, it's a good thing I caught it before I did them all. I'll just have to weld up every other hole. And then same thing here. This one will start here, so I'll have to weld this one and this one up. I'll show you on the old heater. Maybe you'll understand better what I'm talking about. This is circuit 1. This is circuit 2. Also vertically, this is circuit 1. This is circuit 2. Circuit 1, circuit 2, so on and so forth. Well, this right here is a U-bend, by the way. It goes up. What I did on that piece of metal was I drilled every single hole in each line. No, supposed to skip one. And they're staggered. See how they're staggered from each other? No big deal. I can fix it. Alright, this will sort of give you an idea about the two separate circuits I'm talking about. It'll look better once I get everything in place. It's time to do some welding. Well, my lens quit on me. I had to borrow one from a neighbor across the road. I guess I have to buy me a helmet tonight on Amazon. Now, I know I'm getting older, and my eyesight is definitely getting worse. I can tell it really bad at night when I'm driving. And for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, I've really struggled to see, to be able to weld. And you can see that right here in this weld. This was done with my helmet. Just look at that crap. I mean, that looks like garbage. And then this weld was done with the helmet I borrowed from the neighbor. It's 100 times better. This is my helmet here. And it wasn't a cheap helmet when it came out. His is an old cheap Chicago Electric from Harbor Freight. And the lens is absolutely filthy. You can't even see out of it hardly. I can see 100 times better with it. So I think I'm going to get on the interwebs tonight. And I'm going to do some studying on which welding lens is the best. And that's the one I'm going to buy. Update. Another change in design. This is circuit 1. That's circuit 2. Alright. Well, you can see circuit 1 will go in here and zigzag. This is where it'll go around the dividers on circuit 1. Well, remember I said I was going to have to notch these dividers for circuit 2. No, I don't think I'll have to. I'll just drill another hole right here and let this tube go on through and go around that divider on the outside like circuit 1 is doing. So I'm going to do that on a couple of runs and get this other divider in. Good gracious, who in the world was that? Anyway, I'm going to drill a hole right there on a couple of these just to try it out. Don't work, I can weld the holes up. And to get this other divider welded in and see if that'll work. Alright, I got one set of holes drilled on either end for that second circuit. I've got the other 2 dividers in, and as you can see right there, circuit 1 and circuit 2 are going outside of the heat exchanger now, and there'll be a U-bend on there. Let me show you. That's circuit 1, that's circuit 2. Circuit 1 in, circuit 2 in, circuit 1 out, circuit 2 out. That's circuit 1 zigzagging through here. Back there is circuit 2. And there'll be a whole lot of them all the way across there. But this will make it easier to braze all these joints. But it's going to be a pain to drill the rest of those holes. I really wished I'd have thought about this before I got it welded up. This project has really been working on my little pea brain, and I will be glad when I get it done. So let me get these holes drilled. And then I got to cut a whole lot more copper because that's got to go all the way across like this. Then I'll be ready to put the copper in it and start brazing it up. So I got curious as to how much this thing actually does weigh. It's built out of 1/4 inch steel. The old one is built out of 1/8 inch, so it's automatically twice as heavy. Oh, by the way, I got a helmet. I decided to go to Harbor Freight since the one I borrowed was from Harbor Freight and I could actually see with it. So I haven't used it yet, so I don't know if it's as good as that one, but I'll let y'all know as soon as I use it. Anyway, I have decided that I'm going to weigh this thing and just see how much it weighs. Now before we do this, I've got to step on the scale and see how much I weigh. Just keep in mind, camera adds 10 pounds. I've got 3 or 4 cameras pointed at me, so I look a little heavier than what I am. And wide angle lenses have a tendency to make things round. That may be why my belly looks so round. I'm not sure, but just keep that in mind. So I'm gonna step on the scale, see how much I weigh. Then I'm going to pick this up, step on the scale, because it's going to be hard to balance it on the scale by itself. So I'm going to pick this up and step on the scale, and then we'll figure out how much it weighs. All right, I'm going to step on the scale and see what I weigh. Oh dear. I'm not real comfortable with showing that number, so let's skip that part. All right, here we go. Oh, it's too much weight. It's too much weight. You can see where it says overload. Well, that's due to this thing here. Not me, of course. So I'm going to try to set it on the scale by itself, and let's see if we can get a reading. And there you have it, 130.8 pounds. That's pretty heavy. Now that we know how much it weighs, I need to get right here and finish cutting up this copper and then get it in the heater and start brazing it up. All right, I've got all the copper cut, I believe. This is 115. They are 10.5 inches long. And then there's 23 that are 1 inch longer at 11.5 inches long. I do this for the headers. And then here are the 1 inch pieces for the U-bends. They're 115 of them, I believe. Then I've got to have 253 90s. That's 300. I got to have a little more than that, but I got plenty of them. I think I've got everything I need. But I forgot, I've got to cut a hole up here for the exhaust. Then I got to cut a hole down here for the burner to go in the burner tube. And I need to weld up these little mistakes. And I got to finish welding the dividers. So I got to do that first. Then I can start welding some of this copper up. Well, that's not too bad of a free-handed circle, if I must say so myself. Except for that spot. We'll say somebody else did that. Alright, here's what I'm doing with the burner tube. This is the burner tube right here, stainless steel. I'm going to weld it to this plate right here. So this plate will bolt to the end of the heat exchanger. The reason I'm doing that is I don't normally use a 5-inch burner tube. It's usually 6 or 7. I don't know how that's going to work on this burner, so I want to be able to pull this out and change it if I need to. Also, this is going to be wrapped with copper. If I get a hole in the copper for some reason, I want to be able to slide this out and repair that copper if I have to. Alright, here's the plate that the burner tube will be welded to. And it'll slide in this hole like this. And I'm going to have bolts bolted to here. And probably weld nuts on the inside. Well, this is 1/4 inch. Let's just tap this instead of welding nuts. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So they'll be countersunk too, because there'll be a hinged door here that the burner is connected to. So, you know, this needs to be flat. So let me get that done right now. Burner tube is welded up. Let's stick it in and see what it looks like. I've still got to tap these holes. Then I've got to make a plate with hinges for the burner to attach to. Then I think I can start putting the copper in here and brazing it up. Then I'll have to make a door. And I got to make the copper to go around the burner tube. Put my legs on it. That's about it. By the way, the Harbor Freight helmet did pretty good. Well, the lens did. Welded this inside 90 with it, and I could see good. I welded this with it. It's crappy looking, but that's my fault, not the lens. I haven't done a butt joint yet, and that's what I usually have the most trouble with. My only issue is it's not wide enough for my big fat head, and it hits my big fat Dumbo ears. So it only gets 1.5 thumbs up for that. But it is a good helmet. I recommend it. You know, if you need a cheap helmet, it wasn't like $45. All right, I got me a little assembly line set up here. I got me an 1.1/8" spacer to keep this spacing the same because they have to slide in these holes. What I'm gonna do is weld them up like this and stick them in from the back side, and then I'll put another U-bend on this end and weld it up out here. Just be easier to do it that way. So I'll just braze, grab me another one, grab my spacer, put it in here, braze. I'll also take this weight, set it on top of it to keep that from twisting on me while I'm brazing it. Finally got all of them welded up. There's another pile there. So I reckon it's time to start putting them in the heat exchanger, get the U-bend on them, and weld them up. Alright, it's finally time to get some copper in this thing. Let me show you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to skip a row all the way down. And the reason why is because these are so tight, it's hard to get the torch in there to weld them up good. So I'm only going to do every other row first. That way at least half of it will be somewhat easy to weld. And then I'll come back and do the other half. And as far as the tubes go, see how these are unequal length? Well, that's for the header. On the odd number rows, this will go on the bottom like that. That way the header will just go right on it. On the even number rows, it'll go like this on the top. You'll understand why when I get it together. But that's for the header. Now another thing I got to do, once I get the tubes in, let me show you. I don't know if you can see, let me get a flashlight. See how they're sagging? I need them level. Well, I got to do my little spacer right here on every one of them. And get them level. And then once I get it welded up, I'll have to come back through here and move them around, get them all evenly spaced. And I think what I'm going to do is I got some thin wall 3/8 copper. I'm going to flatten it out and weld a strip on each row just to keep them in place, keep them from moving around. So let's get started doing that. I got smart on this second run here. All I gotta do is pull them out, weld them up, push it back in. I'm glad to get that done. I am no expert welder, gas welder, brazier at all, as you can tell. But if I'm going to have leaks, it's going to be right here, because that's where it leaked on the other one, just about every one of them. So I made dang sure to get in behind there this time. And also, see how they're all even? Well, the odd number ones are supposed to be up like this, like that. That's why I'm going to put that copper strip across here to get those, zigzag like they're supposed to. Then I get to do the headers. I'm not looking forward to that, but it's got to be done. So I guess the straps on the back is next, and then the headers. Before I put the straps on, I'm going to coat them with solder, and then it'll make it easier to attach the first one and then go from there. So I got to do that first. And if you're wondering, this brazen rod is Silphos. I think it's 2%, but it might be 6%, but it's definitely Silphos. And that's why I don't have to use any flux on this copper, because it's got so much phosphorus in it, it acts as a flux. There we have it. All right, the straps are done. I was mostly worried about these upper ones on each row. I was afraid once they got water in them over time that they might try to droop, but I don't think that's going to happen now. And I still got room to get in here and get in here to clean. I'm going to make me a special little end for my shop vac that'll go right in there. I hope to have a little brush on the end of it. It'll brush the soot off and then vacuum it right out. So now that that is done, I got to do headers, and then I get to wrap the burner tube with copper and get it all connected up and make a door for this side, put legs on it, and I think we'll be done with it. All right, on these headers, I've got to sweat out these old fittings, clean the holes up, and then we'll be ready to put it on the new heat exchanger. Come on. Miss Daisy shows up again. Daisy, come here. What are you doing? Say hello again, everybody. Okay, this part right here is extremely aggravating, getting these headers to line up. So if there's a music track playing over this part, just know that I'm trying to keep this a family-friendly channel. Come on. Come on now. Yep. Well, if this ain't something to tell the captain. Well, if this ain't some kind of well. Made these holes a little bigger, laying it down flat like this, and maybe I won't lose my religion on this one. That one went a lot easier. Alright, I got the other two headers on. These elbows being able to swivel made these a lot easier. They didn't take hardly any time. So now I'm going to put about 110 pounds of pressure on it so I can check for leaks. So be quiet and listen. There's a bird in here. Let's see if I can find him. Well, I don't know where he went. Bird! Bird, where you at? Ow! I hear him. There he is. Where'd he go? There he is right there. Get out of here. Oh, get out of here. Oh, he's angry with me now. Listen to him. All right, back to finding these leaks. I'm gonna put about 110 pounds on it and see if we can find the leak. So be quiet and listen. All right, I've got a lot of leaks. Well, let's see if I can find them. I'll be back. All right, I had 3 major leaks and 1 small one. There was one here, here, and here, I think, and I had a small one right here. So let's put some air on it again and see what, yeah. Well, I don't hear anything. I'm going to spray it down with soapy water and see if we see any leaks. So far so good. Only thing leaking is my caps that I got put on it, but they don't matter. Well, I don't see nothing on this side either. I think I got one small leak on that steel to copper fitting right there. It's been sitting here about 5 or 10 minutes. You can see them real good now. I had to turn it upside down to get it, and it took several tries, but I finally got that little sucker. I hate trying to redo a silver solder joint because it can be very aggravating. But I finally got it. Now I'm going to put some air to it, check the gauge, see where it's at, check it in the morning, and if it's dropped, I got a leak. If it hasn't dropped, we're good to go, and I'll check the second circuit the same way. Looks like it's a little over 95 pounds. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Next day, we're still at 95 pounds. So that means that circuit's good. Now we'll get to do circuit 2, same way. All right, let's see how many leaks I got in circuit 2. Yep, quite a few. All right, I found 2 major leaks on this bottom header. I got them fixed, so let's hit it with some more air. All right, that's another header leak, so let me get it fixed. All right, had one big leak right here on this header. Got it fixed. Throw some more air to it. Oh yeah. Got rid of the big leaks. Now let me throw some soap on it, and then we'll see what I got. No leaks on this side. Let me check the other side. No leaks on this side either. So that's 8 leaks out of 514 joints. I think that's pretty good. All right, it's sitting on about 78 pounds. So I'm gonna let that sit a few hours while I start working on getting some copper wrapped around the burner tube. All right, here's the copper I'm going to use to wrap the burner tube with. And the reason it's black is this was used in another stove a few years ago. The problem is this has already been bent. When you bend copper, it work hardens, and it's difficult to bend it again without it kinking. So what I've got to do is anneal it, which means I have to heat it up to reddish and let it cool down. Then it'll be soft again, and I can bend it however I want to. So let me get that done, and I'll start wrapping it around the burner tube. Apparently these fool birds live in this basement. There's 2 of them in here. So I guess they go to their nest and they're quiet all night. I've got one in my garage at the house that there he is right there. He's not quiet. And he does not like you in the garage with him. But these 2 here apparently don't mind. That's a dirty job right there. Already got it wrapped. It ain't quite long enough. I don't feel like annealing that other bundle of copper. So I just slid it forward. Because there's not going to be a lot of heat right here. This is probably going to start about here. And it's going to be really hot right in here on out. So I'm not worried about that. If I have to, I can sort of spread it out a little bit. But I want most of it down on this end right here. Also, this thing is going to get cherry red after it runs a few minutes. And because of that, I'm going to split this in 2 and make it 2 circuits. Because that water traveling around here, if it has to travel that whole length, it's liable to be boiling. It's liable to be steam once it comes out. I don't want that. So I'm going to cut it in half. That way it only has to travel half of it, and then it's out. So let me do that. I got to figure out how I'm going to get it through the wall of the stove, and probably just hook it straight into each header. Burner tube copper is in. Yes, it is 2 circuits, and let me spin it around and show you. Here's the in on the first circuit, out on the first circuit, in on the second, out on the second. I got to run this up to this header. That one will go here. This one will go to this header. That one will go here. But this is 3/8 copper, and I don't have any 3/8 fittings, so I'm done for the night. I'll run to Lowe's tomorrow and get all the fittings I need. Get that done. I've still got to do this door for the burner, and then the door on the back, and put the legs on it, and we will be done with it. Well, Lowe's does not have 3/8 copper fittings. Home Depot think they're made of gold. So what I'm going to have to do is use 1/2" stuff like I've already got. That's 1/2" copper. It slips right over the 3/8. So that'll be the coupling. Then I can use 1/2" all the way up. Go into that header. Do the same with the rest of them. So let me get that done and I'll be right back. Camera cut off on me before I got done brazing, so here it is. See it going up into the header there. And I only got 3 more to go. Alright, I got all 4 of them done. If one was in here looking at it, they may ask, well, what happened right here? Well, my brain sometimes, I guess, goes into neutral. This line here was supposed to be on this header. Well, for some reason, I put it here. All right, well, that's okay. Well, I sweated it loose, and then I proceeded to put a hole right next to it, and I don't know why. And then you might ask about that one there. Well, this one here, for some reason, I thought needed to go up here. But anyway, it's brain farts. I have quite a few. So now that I've got that done, I got to make 2 doors, put the legs on, and I might throw some paint on it, and then she will be done. I just flipped the old stove on its end so I could cut the legs off, because I'm going to put them on the new one. And this is all the crap that come out of it. And there's still a whole lot left in it. But in case you're wondering, that is why I'm building a new one and why I'm designing it like I am, so I could keep that stuff out of it. Alright, got the hinges in place, fixing to weld them up. I got them toolboxes on there because this is warped a little bit, so it's mashing it down flat. I'm going to try to use this fiberglass gasket. I don't know how well it'll do, but I'm going to give it a try. So let me get them welded on. On the side door, I've decided instead of doing some kind of a latch here, I'm just going to drill a hole here and use a bolt to keep this closed. I've already got the nut welded on the inside, and you might be wondering, well, how are you going to know where to drill the hole exactly? Well, hang on and I'll show you. You use what is called a transfer screw. Basically, all it is a bolt that's been ground to a point. Close the lid, take a hammer, give it a whack, and there's the punch mark. I can see it. It's hard to see on this camera, but I know where it's at. But that's how you do that. Look at there, lined up perfect. Side door complete. Got the legs on it. I'm working on the door for the burner. So let me get that cut out, weld it up, get the hinge on it. I'll be back. Well, it ain't pretty, but it's done. Got the burner door done. All you gotta do, turn this little handle right here, and it opens up. There's the burner tube, there's the burner. Then, when it gets sooted up, all I gotta do is take that bolt out, drop that door, and I can clean every bit of it. I'm going to end this video here because it's already too long, and I still got a lot to do to the boiler room. So this will be part 1. In part 2, I'm going to show you how everything hooks up how it operates, all the controls and the safety stuff, and I want to show you how I process my oil before I use it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Also, Christmas is just a couple days away, so Merry Christmas to everybody, and please remember the reason for the season. Until next time, go do something.